Welcome back, everybody. This is Brother Me here. Today we are continuing on our quest to explore the new feats that are available to us in Wrath of the Righteous. This is Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous. It's in early beta, as you can see by the test down here. We just got a recent patch, which is supposedly fixing some of the things. We're at the end of July, early August right now as of this recording, and the game won't be out supposedly until the very first week of September. Now that's maybe a thing. We've yet to decide. The devs are doing their best. I do know that they are fixing bugs left and right. The fact that even though we've recently done what they've called the last beta, so beta 3, and they've done like 4 patches since then, shows that they care. And again, they're taking our bug reports, fixing as much as they can, trying to have the least buggy mess that we had when we got Pathfinder Kingmaker. And if you weren't around when Pathfinder Kingmaker came out, trust me when I say you will appreciate them putting in this much effort before the actual release. Now, having said that, still submit your bug reports if you have access to the game. I'm doing the same. Be careful on that stuff, so don't waste your time with shit that's like, and this is here, and I didn't like it. Yeah, too bad. If it's a mistake, if it's wrong, if it's glitching, feel free to bug report it. That's the point. But if you got a typo, really, man, of all the things to give a rat's ass about, they really do not care about the typos right now. They're trying to make sure that the game is playable. And if it breaks your immersion, hey, that sucks, but it's still not something that's going to stop people from progressing in the game. So, grain of salt here, make sure you guys are using things appropriately. Having said that, what are we here for? Well, we're here for actual combat feats this time. So we've already done 2 videos. One's going to be the first one I released, which was the spell, quote-unquote, feats that are available to wizards and sorcerers, and everyone else, of course, too. But wizards and sorcerers get them for free at like levels 1, 5, 10, 15. You get the idea. So this was not, of course, all the feats that impact spells. So again, we'll see even ones maybe today that would impact spellcasters. So that's of importance. Same with the other video we did and uploaded last night. That's the one that covered every teamwork feat that's in the game. We saw a couple in there that affected spellcasters directly, like their concentration check, their spell pen. So again, separate category, but still impactful for a variety of things. I'll try to draw your attention to these. This is the combat feats now that like fighters get for free, as you can see at level 1, then 2, 4, 6, and on up. This is why fighters feel so odd in that they don't get spells or anything like that as they level up naturally, but they do get feats at every damn level. If you stay a purist fighter, you get them at level 1, then at 2, then at 3, then at 4, and you see you're just constantly upgrading your character, which makes them extremely powerful if you do it right, extremely odd if you do it wrong, and you're just like, ooh, I always wanted this one. Were you ever going to do greater dirty trick? No, but what the hell, I'll have it because I got, 20 goddamn feats plus here. Sure, I suppose you could do that, but that's just wasteful. So let's kind of steer you towards ones that are of value. Now, ignore the thumbs up, thumbs down category, just to give you an example of what I'm talking about here. This is the list we're going to cover, not obviously in this one video. But what I figured I'd do is I'd do all the thumbs up ones up here just to make breaking points, and anything that ties with them. So for example, you see we have improved 2-weapon fighting, but you don't see 2-weapon fighting on the list. We even have greater 2-weapon fighting, but again, we don't have 2-weapon fighting on the list. I will cover it in this video, just so you can see what builds to what, which builds to whatever, and what builds to the next one. So again, things of this nature is going to be tied into this video. Anything else will be a second video, will be these ones here that are the thumbs down that we didn't cover. And then for a third video, we'll do the thumbs down category. So again, this is going to be very long. But to point out some of the obvious before we get into it, for example, see how they have weapon finesse as being thumbs down? This is a great feat. Do not use the thumbs down, thumbs up as, oh, I must have this. The game's telling me so. It doesn't mean shit. The game is literally saying you're probably a strength-based character, so weapon finesse is less valuable to you. Okay, and that's accurate. That doesn't mean you don't want it. So again, if you have a strength of 18 and a dex of 17, but you plan on dumping all your ability points into dex to jump it from 17 to 22, and you're going to be a weapon finesser because that's what you wanted to do, hey man, grab it. Don't use this as discouraging you from saying, oh, this must be a bad pick. It's not. It's just coded into the game so they can try to steer new players away from it. So that's why I'm here, to kind of give you better advice. So let's start talking about these. So bashing finish, what does this one do? What do you need? So here's your prerequisites. Notice, of course, I'm using a mod that's giving me the ability to pick anything, which is why everything is on my list. Notice this one requires you to have not only skill in using a shield, whether we're talking light shield or heavy shield. You need the feats of shield bash, 2-weapon fighting, a high, and I can't stress this enough, base attack bonus, and something called shield master. These are all feats with the exception of that bab requirement, and this then implies that you're probably not taking this on like a wizard or sorcerer, someone that's only going to get a bab of 10 if they stay a purist by the end of the game. That's not going to be someone that's going to have access to this. Certainly if you went wizard / eldritch knight, sure, your bab will go up, and as such you could potentially grab something like this. I still don't think this would be something that you would care about. That's not to say that's not going to be someone out there that's like, oh, I totally want to be the shield, the dagger wielding, shield wielding wizard guy with no armor. Hey, okay, I suppose. Seems odd, but you can do that thing. The thing for me is since this one is going to be a free attack, which is we'll get to when we talk about the benefit, and off of a crit build, so something that's going to crit more often than not, so you can get that free attack often. This would probably be better suited for someone that's swinging hard. That doesn't mean strength based. I mean, it probably does, but 2-weapon fighting, for example, requires a dexterity of 15. That's not exactly true. When we get to it, you'll see that it says that as a prerequisite, but there's exceptions to every rule. Fighters, for example, when they get these things called weapon training, they can get various things like 2-handed weapon training. So literally, they get a bonus to swinging a weapon that's a 2-handed weapon. They can get effortless dual wielding. This is another example of a way for them to excel at using, say, like a scimitar and a scimitar, one in each hand. These are not light weapons. As such, if you 2-weapon fight, when you'll see this feat, those heavier weapons, like a shield and a scimitar for that matter, would literally be a -4 to your swing for both of them. That sucks. But if you have effortless dual wielding, you actually treat them as if they were light category weapons. What does that mean? Well, when you get to 2-weapon fighting, you'll see that if it's a light weapon in at least your offhand, which is where you would have your shield, or your if you're right-handed, then it's your left hand. If you have a light weapon in just that one hand, then your penalties, instead of being -4, -4, will end up being -2, -2. And that's of value. So you can see the appeal there. So again, they'll have access to this and so much more. They'll even have abilities that they can unlock, that's special training that's going to allow them to do things like get 2-weapon fighting without having to meet the prerequisites, which means they don't have to have a dexterity of 15. Or when they get improved 2-weapon fighting, that's a dexterity of 17 or higher. When they get greater 2-weapon fighting, that's a dexterity of 19 or higher. They don't have to meet those prerequisites. Rangers, again, get this too. So again, there's a lot of different classes out there that will have access to these things that don't meet the prerequisites. So again, while I say should be a dex-based build, should be a strength-based build, know that there's always going to be exceptions to the rule. Is this one worth it? Again, I can't really answer that for you, but what I can tell you is what it's giving you. So it's a free attack. Period. It's a free attack. It's literally you crit with your main weapon. You have your shield equipped in your offhand, which is giving you armor, and you can wield it like an actual weapon, which is what Shield Bash and Shield Master is all about. And of course, the 2-weapon fighting besides. So you're smacking things around kind of like Captain America, but you also have a main weapon, whatever that is. And no, for those that are asking, you cannot have a shield and a shield equipped. It's just not something that they do here. But on that, again, is it worth doing? A free attack is a free attack. And if you're very good at attacking, which presumably this class would be, whatever class you're picking, because you have to have a high BAB, you will get a free attack off on the bad guy. That's not bad. And with Shield Master, which we've yet to see, again, it's farther down on the list, but Shield Master is one of those that instead of just smacking him with your shield, you're smacking with the shield, and if the shield is enchanted, you'll see that you're getting that bonus, just as if it was a magic weapon. So a shield +5 is now a magical weapon +5 for you. So a bonus to your swing, a bonus to your damage. You can see the appeal. If you're going for a crit fishing build, which means you're using something like a scimitar or other melee weapon in your main hand that has a high crit range, again, the fact that you're getting a free attack and you're still getting your armor, which is, again, quite appealing. You're very tanky. I could see doing a build like this. Now, again, I would probably keep it to something like a fighter, a ranger, someone that's already wearing armor, doing the sword and board deal. Hell, this could be fun for a paladin, for that matter. But again, everyone's going to play it different. So I can't tell you what class to pick. I just know that it would be easier for a fighter or ranger to grab this than anybody else in most cases. So definitely a solid choice. Cleaving finish. Now this one falls under a category that we've done a video on already. So I'm going to fly through this one kind of quickly. Notice how this one requires a high strength, not that high. Power attack, which would also require a strength of 13 or higher. And then, of course, another feat, which, again, we'll talk about in a bit, called Cleave. But the 4 feats, besides power attack, that you want for this thing are as follows. You want Cleave, and that's the first one, so it unlocks the others. So Cleave unlocks this one, as you can see, as a prerequisite. So Cleaving Finish and Great Cleave unlock at the same time. And then Improved Cleaving Finish requires that you have, obviously, all of the others. So Cleave, Cleaving Finish, and Great Cleave. And, of course, Power Attack and High Strength. What do they do? Well, each one is a different upgrade. So let's talk about them in steps. So I don't want to talk about this one just yet. I want to talk about Cleave first. What does Cleave do? Let's scroll down to it. Cleave is nothing more than I'm specifically clicking this icon in my tray. So this is an abilities icon. You click it, you click a target. As long as you can reach that target and hit them with your weapon, you swing. Just like a normal attack. However, it's a single attack. Be real clear on this. You're swinging once. Early levels, that's fine. Because again, one attack is all you were getting anyway. Most characters aren't going to get 2 attacks until they get to level 6 or higher. So getting Cleave early, which is definitely doable, is adding some bang to your buck, some action economy. Why? Because if I hit that first target with my Cleave ability, where I hit him or her once, anyone else in range I will swing at once, but only one foe. So literally, I'm swinging at you, and I'm swinging at your buddy that's also within range. But the way it works is I have to swing at you, hit you, and then someone else has to be within range, a different opponent, and then I swing at that person. Hit or miss, again, whatever. Notice, when I do this, you only get that one additional attack. So again, with nothing more than just Cleave, you're getting 2 attacks. The first one that hits, presumably, and then the second one, which could hit someone else. Make sure you know that you need to have another opponent in range. This is why when I do the Cleaving Finish or the Improved Cleaving Finish build, which I've posted already, I suggest you get a reach weapon, which means a melee weapon that has a longer range. So you have a bigger area of influence, if you will, for your attack. Because again, it's dependent on how many bad guys are within that area of influence for how these abilities work. Notice when you use this, we're taking an armor class penalty because you're really leaning into it. So again, this will make it easier for them to hit you. And also notice that early levels, while it's awesome because it gives you 1 attack, turns it into 2, at the later levels, just Cleave, just this one here, will still only turn 1 attack into 2, and again, maybe, because you still have to hit with that first attack, and someone has to be else within range. But you may have, say, on a fighter build, later in the game, you'd have 4 attacks normally. This now turns it 4 attack swing on one target, maybe to a second target if you kill the first one, into, again, just 1 attack followed by another attack. So your action economy went down. So Cleave by itself isn't the end-all be-all of existence. It's nice, sure, especially early levels, but it builds into something grander. That's the point. Go down and look for something called Great Cleave. This would be another upgrade. So notice how it requires strength, Cleave, and anything that would require Cleave. So obviously power attack again. What does this one do? It's the same thing as Cleave. You click Cleave, and the icon looks the same, so nothing changes as far as the icon. So don't look for Great Cleave to be a different clickable. It all keys off of Cleave now. So if you have this one too, what'll happen is I can click Cleave, attack one guy, hit him, switch to another target within range because of Cleave, hit him, and keep repeating the process until I run out of new foes or I miss. So Great Cleave means that, like, let's say I could get this by level 3, which is totally a doable thing. I could literally, even though I have only 1 attack at level 3, doesn't matter what kind of character I am, 1 attack is standard by level 3. I could activate the Cleave ability with Great Cleave, again, being inputted into it already, swing at one guy, hit him, swing at another guy, hit him, swing at another guy, hit him, and as many guys as I have in a circle around me there, or within range of my melee weapon, which is why we want to reach one, I could hit every last one of those dudes. If that's 4, 5, 8 guys, I could hit up to 8 guys by level 3 with 1 attack. because I just keep hitting, like I'm swinging around in a big fucking circle, just smacking everyone in the face with my big ass weapon. And that's what Great Cleave will do for you. And again, it's amazing. And again, same penalty that we saw with Cleave, that -2 to your armor class, because again, you're really leaning into it. I'm actually kind of surprised they didn't penalize this more, quite frankly, or have it scale based on the number of guys you hit. But whatever. I'm not going to tell them to do that because that would screw my build. But this is why Great Cleave is so great. Again, obvious, right? Well, what about Cleaving Finish then? So Cleaving Finish with a big thumbs up pairs also with the bigger one, Improved Cleaving Finish. Look at all the shit you need for that bastard, right? Now all the stuff that you had before, but also a base attack bonus that's higher. So again, more to it. This one here just requires Cleave, High Strength, and Power Attack. And again, Power Attack requires that Strength of 13, and Cleave requires Strength of 13 and Power Attack. So again, I don't like when they put all those prerequisites in there, personally speaking, because it gets confusing. You're like, oh wow, that's a lot. Not really, because to get Cleave, you already had the other two things right below it. So I'd rather they just say prerequisite Cleave, and then when you go to Cleave, say, oh, Cleave requires all these other things. So again, people aren't overwhelmed with the amount of shit that they have to grab. Same with like when we talk about Improved Cleaving Finish over here. Again, everything on that list you needed to get to, well, take that back. You need, to me, what this list should be shrunk down to should be the following. It should say Great Cleave, Cleaving Finish, and a base attack bonus of 6. Those last three things. Why those three? Why those three? Because literally, to get Great Cleave or Cleaving Finish, you needed Cleave. To get Cleave, you needed a Strength of 13 and Power Attack. So again, all those prerequisites have already been met. The only thing that was unique is you needed Great Cleave, yes. And I needed Cleaving Finish, which are separate, yes. And a base attack bonus of 6, yes. That's how I would have done it. Again, we're deviating from what this video was supposed to be for. What does Cleaving Finish give you? This one's an autopilot one. If you get this, again, notice how you don't need Great Cleave, you need Cleave. If you get this one, when you kill something, again, if anything's within range of your melee weapon, you will swing at another opponent once and presumably try to hit that opponent. And that's at your full base attack bonus. So if your base attack bonus is 1, you're swinging with a +1. If your base attack bonus is a fighter at level 20, which would be a +20, you're swinging at a +20. It's a nice way to just randomly get a free attack. This is why this one is so powerful. Very similar to Bashing Finish. Anything that gives you an extra attack is awesome. Where this one, all I had to do was crit a guy. And you may say, well, that's rare. You know, how rare is it to just straight up kill a dude? It's going to happen, sure. You're going to do it a lot, presumably, especially if you're very good at it. But again, it's not guaranteed any more than the crit is. Crit fishing, we have a pretty good chance of landing those things. Here, I have to be the guy. This character with Cleaving Finish has to be the guy that ends a life. This is why when I did that video for Improved Cleaving Finish, we used to joke about this back in pen and paper days, where we would use moves like this on a sack of rats that you'd throw at the bad guy. Why? Because it may be hard to hit the bad guy and all his friends and kill them, but I could kill a rat pretty easy, and that allows me free attacks in a circle. With Cleaving Finish, you only get one swing and you're done. But Improved Cleaving Finish, way the hell down here, the one that you're shooting for, the one that has all those massive prerequisites, literally allows you, once you kill a guy, to swing at every other dude in a circle around you once, an unlimited number of targets. So if there's 8 guys around you and you kill one dude, you can swing 7 more times for those 7 other guys that are within range. Smack, 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 smack. And again, that's pretty fucking badass. Same with Great Cleave, where again I walk up to a big pile of dudes and I click Cleave, which is with the icon, hit one guy, and again I smack, smack, smack everyone in a goddamn circle until I run out of new targets or I whiff. Again, that's pretty cool. Again, the action economy is there. It's a massive amount of guys that I'm swinging at. Now, is this useful? Certainly you can see the appeal. When would this be useless? What if it's a one-on-one fight with you and the main bad guy? He has no minions, it's just you and the tanky motherfucker from hell. How is this helping you in any way? It's amazing. Don't kid yourself. I like it. That's why I tout it all the time as being a solid build, especially on a strength-based build. This is an amazing upgrade. But this is for destroying fodder. This is for culling the herd, getting rid of his minions. And again, if you don't think so, go to Kingmaker, Pathfinder Kingmaker if you have it. Go into the Snapper's Depths, make a build like this. And then make another build where you have a summoner. Someone that summons lots of dogs and pets and shit that'll just fight for you. Get low enough in the dungeon with that summoner you'll see how useless your pets are at a certain point because one of the bad guys actually has improved cleaving finish. So when you marshal up on this son of a bitch and like, my dogs will handle it, or my, whatever, my pets will handle it, and you summon like 6, 7 things to swarm this motherfucker, A, they probably won't kill it. B, they're not going to hit it very often. And C, when it's his turn, he's going to do improved cleaving finish on those motherfucking doggies. And they'll all die in a circle. And God forbid, if your team is in that circle as well within the reach of his weapon, you guys will get hit too. And I've had that day. And I'm sitting there like, wow, I guess my summoner build wasn't quite as cool as I thought. And again, it's cool. It shows that the devs are putting effort in the game. It's, they said, well, how can people get, easy kills? Well, improved cleaving finish is one of the ways. Cornigan Smash, Dreadful Carnage is another build that we'll talk about again today because it's that cool. But the devs saw that and they made adjustments. They literally made characters immune to the shaken, the fear condition. So again, that was kind of the crux of the Cornigan Smash build. It's not the only thing it does, but it's the thing it does really well. And they take that away from you. Not all the time, just enough that you have to think outside the box a little bit. So again, since we're covering 4 feats in one here, we're talking about Cleave, Great Cleave, Cleaving Finish, and Improved Cleaving Finish. Are they worth it? Again, I can't answer that for you. I can tell you for what it does it well. It's a lot like the fighter. I mean, this is when I think of the fighter, I think Cornigan Smash, Dreadful Carnage build, or I think Cleaving or Improved Cleaving Finish build. Or both, because again, a fighter could get them both. And is it worth it? Again, for what they do, killing shit in a fucking circle, it's amazing. But is it something for your character? Again, a lot of people will be like, well, I like seeing my character swing and swing and swing. When you activate these things, or when they're autopilot, like Cleaving Finish and Improved Cleaving Finish, which, again, is not a clickable. You don't click it and attack somebody. You literally just attack somebody. You kill somebody, it fires off. You will see massive numbers spike across all the heads of all the bad guys that you hit because of Improved Cleaving Finish or Cleaving Finish kicked in. So somebody died at your hands, and you'll see one attack, and then you'll see all these other numbers appear. What the hell was that? Oh, that was Improved Cleaving Finish. Cool. For me, I like it. For other people, they're like, I would have rather seen him swing and swing and swing. Well, sorry, they didn't add that animation, and how the hell would they do that seamlessly for a rando thing like Improved Cleaving Finish? So they just said, hit one guy, and all these numbers appear. And again, it's satisfying to me. Doesn't mean it will be for everybody else. Is it good, though? Yeah. It's definitely something that if you could fit it, especially in a strength-based build, and I don't mean strength of 13. I mean a strength build. Like you see right now, my character is level 1, and he has a strength of 19. That's accurate. That is exactly what your strength could be at level 1. Hell, you could actually get it to 20, which is wasteful, but you could. I'd say minimum, would be for a build like this, though, you'd want a strength of 17. Okay, and something that you would add to that to increase it, whether we're talking gear or ability points, whatever. But 17 minimum to start would feel about right for Cleaving Finish, Improved Cleaving Finish, Cleave, Great Cleave. And again, you don't need it right away, but you do want them. I can, again, just to backpedal a little bit here, let's say I was a normal human like I am, and I have 2 feats here and this free feat here for combat feat for being a human. What could I grab with these 3 fighter feats? These feats and this fighter feat for a human. Let's say I grab Power Attack. Let's say I grab Cleave. And I either get Cleaving Finish or Great Cleave. Is a possibility. Why not? What is the prerequisite? Strength, check. Cleave, I just told you I had it. And Power Attack, I told you I had it. So I could get this at level 1. So I'm killing things in a circle. Now the problem is at level 1 and 2, and maybe even into 3 a little bit, you're not getting bum rushed by a lot of guys. Maybe 2 or 3. So again, of value sometimes. What would be better? Well, I could get Power Attack, which is still a solid upgrade, the one that gives us extra damage. I could get Cleave, so when I do want to swing and hit more than one guy, I have the option. And then get something like Weapon Focus, something that we'll talk about later. And again, a +1 to whatever weapon we're talking about. A glaive, a long spear, a bardiche. These are reach weapons. And it's not the only ones, but those are the top 3 that stick out in my brain. And is that amazing? Hey, I like it. Bonus to your swing, a bonus to your damage, and the ability to hit more than once with Cleave when I so need it. That's not a bad level 1 character right there. Just saying. You already have your armor. You are a fighter, so you have martial weapon proficiency and simple weapon proficiency, you have skill and shields and everything else. And by the way, you can cleave with a non-reach weapon. You can cleave with a longsword. There's nothing stopping you. It's weird, I suppose, to cleave with a dagger, but it doesn't have any prerequisites as far as the kind of melee weapon you're using. Hell, for all I know, you can cleave with a punch. Seemed wrong, but maybe. Again, just requires that you have power attack and you're doing the click and attack of the opponent. So I suppose that's a thing. But again, for a level 1 character to have the ability to swing twice, that's extremely powerful. And then when you just build into it, again, stopping at cleave is not enough. Even stopping at great cleave isn't really enough. Cleaving finish for free, you'll appreciate it. Improve cleaving finish, where you're just lopping heads off in a fucking circle, that's where the money is. And it's a big investment, but totally worth. Moving on, critical mastery. Notice this one here requires, again, a lot of things. Fighter level 14, and you may think, well, geez, this sucks because it's only fighters that get it. That's not true. Again, there's exceptions to every rule. For example, a sword saint gets fighter levels, technically. Once they get to level 7, they take their sword saint level, subtract 3. So at level 7, a sword saint is considered fighter level 4. For purposes only of meeting prerequisites like this. So a level 17 sword saint would be a level 14 fighter. They would have access to this, and I have made these builds. Are they good? Yes. You need to understand what they do, because it's a big investment. So what's the investment for? So critical focus means you're more likely to crit. When there's a crit roll, you get a +4 to the swing for the second roll, not the first hit, to confirm the crit. We'll talk about it when we get to critical focus, but trust me, it's good, wasteful later on. Why do I say that? Because critical focus, while awesome, at level, I want to say 19 or 20 for a sword saint, they always confirm their crits. So if they could have crit, they crit, which is fucking broken. It's the end of the game, but still, it's amazingly awesome. This is why a crit fishing build, a sword saint, is a champion. So, critical mastery then means that they're going to kick off 2 of those feats that you're seeing there. Blinding critical, exhausting critical, sickening, staggering, or tiring. The exception to this would be is you cannot tire and exhaust at the same time. Tiring is the weak version, exhausting critical is the upgraded version, so you can't have both of those active. Once you get exhausting critical, it replaces tiring critical. So just be aware of that. You don't have to get exhausting critical. Hell, you don't need to get tiring critical. You just need 2 of those critical feats there. And the reason for that is, why it's a prerequisite, is because what critical mastery does. Normally you can only have one of those on. They're a toggle. So it basically says, like, let's say I have blinding and exhausting, the top 2. Okay? I can have, when I crit, I can have either of those toggles on. And when I crit, it's a chance to blind the target, or when I crit, it's a chance to exhaust the target. There's always a chance. It's not a guarantee. There's a fortitude save or a reflex save or blah blah blah. But it's more likely than not going to happen, which is the goal. Having said that, I can only have one on at a time. That's standard. Critical mastery, on the other hand, will allow you to activate 2. Now again, you could have more than 2, but you can still only activate 2. So if I want to do blinding and exhausting, I can. If I want to do blinding and sickening, I can. If I want to do exhausting and staggering, I can. And that's pretty cool. What is it really bringing to the table? Well, we have to get into the blinding, the exhausting, the sickening, staggering, and tiring. But just like it sounds, once you crit, if they fail their check after that, you succeed in whatever, they will be blinded for X amount of rounds. They will be exhausted for X amount of rounds. They will be tired, sick, and staggered, just like the name implies. So what do those effects do? Well, you know what blinding does. They can't see you. They can't see your friends. Technically, by blinding critical, you have made a target behave as if your entire party, all your allies, your friends, your summons, are basically invisible. That's total concealment, because they can't see you. That doesn't mean they don't have blind fight. That doesn't mean they don't have a way around it where they can, tremor sense or whatever and sense your presence. But it does impose a massive penalty, as you can imagine, and sets them up for things like sneak attack. Because again, if they can't see you, they can't see the attack coming, sneak attack. So you can see the fun you can have with some of these things. Exhausting and tiring, just like they sound. Tiring is a fatigue effect. So if you fatigue them, they have a -2 to strength and -2 to dex. That is not amazing. That's why tiring critical sucks compared to exhausting critical. Exhausting takes it to -6. But having said that, let's just talk about tiring critical first. When might this be of value? Well, certainly you're mailing somebody, lowering their strength by 2 and their dex by 2, even if it's short term. You can see the appeal. It literally is a massive screw you to their attack bonus. Well, not massive, a penalty to their attack bonus and their damage output in melee. You can see that. But what else does being tired do? They can't charge, son. So if you're used to having that bad guy bolt past you to go hit your wizard in the back fucking rank, tiring critical, baby. If you got lucky enough to land that shit and he's tired, he don't get to do that. Give you one more. Start of a fight. Guess what you can't do if you haven't raged yet? You can't rage if you're tired. If you're exhausted, too. You cannot rage, or blood rage for that matter, because you're fatigued. So if you can set up fatigue ahead of time, screw that guy. The downside is in this game, and I will say, I have seen this. I don't know if this is a continual problem or something that's going to get fixed. But at the start of every combat, even if I'm the guy that surprises them in combat, I want to say they routinely just auto rage. Like the fight starts and the guy's like glowing red. That means he's raging. That's annoying. Especially if I've acted before him. How the hell is he getting his rage on? You know what I'm saying? I'm jumping the guy. The whole fucking point of me jumping the guy is he shouldn't have time to react. But I think it's just coded in like they get their buffs. And that's one of their buffs is rage. So that's kind of annoying. Maybe that I'm mistaken on that. I'm just remembering wrong. But if that isn't a thing, like it shouldn't be, then again, if you have something like Tiring Critical and you get to act first, you can set it up where that guy is fatigued. You just taken away like the biggest tool that Blood Rager or that Barbarian had. The ability to rage is just poof, gone, screw that guy. And that's pretty damn cool. And that's nothing more than Tiring Critical, which is not that impressive. Exhausting, obviously better version. Sickening and Staggering. Sickening is just imposes the sickening condition. It's like a -2 to a variety of things. Not only their attack bonus, but their damage, I think, and their skills and their ability checks. So a lot of penalties is my point. And again, will it last forever? No, but the fight's not going to last forever. That's the point. You soften them up and then knock them down. Staggering Critical. On that list, the two that I'd say are probably my favorite is honestly Blinding and Staggering. Why? Blinding for obvious reasons. Staggering because if the target is staggered, even if it's for a round, on that round that they're staggered, they can only swing one time. Now again, caveat. We just saw an example where you could swing one time and get multiple swings. Right? So if that dude is like a cleaving finish kind of guy, or a great cleave kind of build, he could probably do that shit. So again, that's going to be a problem for you. Be careful. If he has something like Bashing Finish, where, again, he has a weapon swing. That weapon crits. He only gets to swing once, right? Well, look at here. He got a free attack because he swung and critted. So you can see how they could have the same tricks that you have, and then some. Stuff that you're not seeing, and you're like, oh, the game's broken, they're screwing me over. No, it's just he's prepared like you are. He has feats that literally will make him awesome, even if you make him staggered. And again, something that should be emphasized here, how there's always a way around things. Dragon Ferocity falls under a category of multiple feats. Again, 3 feats for every style. It seems to be a thing for this game, for this fighting style. So Dragon Ferocity. Or let's go back. Critical Mastery. Is it worth getting? I can't say no. If you're a fighter, you got feats to spare, so getting this, while seems daunting, is not that big of a deal. By level 14, totally you can have critical mastery at this point, and it would be perfectly fine, because usually within the first 5 levels, I have my build done, as far as all the cool things that I would really want to have. Your power attack, your weapon focus, your ability to smack things and hit them hard is already dialed in. Everything else is just extras. A little more armor, a little better swing, stuff that's important, don't kid yourself, but you can build into it whenever it makes sense. So if you want to deviate from the plan, so to speak, and get yourself blinding critical, staggering critical focus, that's something I could totally get around here and not feel bad about it. And then certainly way before 14, where this one shows up and now suddenly I can grab critical mastery and turn both of them on. So that's a thing. Dragon Ferocity, back to our fighting styles. Dragon Ferocity, it falls under one of your unarmed striking fighting styles in this game. It is not monk only that can get this. You can see how This one literally just requires you have improved unarmed strike. That's a feat we can take. Hell, it's a feat that you can give yourself for free as one of your backgrounds. Matter of fact, for those of you that are really interested. So that's something of value, which I really appreciate, because grabbing improved unarmed strike just to fucking punch lamely is a stupid thing. Monks get improved unarmed strike for free, and their punches, if they continue to level up as a monk, get just monstrous, because that's one of their main weapons. But for everyone else, if you just get improved unarmed strike, you're doing like 1d4, 1d6 of damage with your fisties, and that's it. And improved unarmed strike does have the other added benefit of you do not provoke attacks of opportunity. So bad guys, when you punch them normally, if you don't have improved unarmed strike as a feat pick, whether it's free or something that you actively pick, you literally, by punching with your fists, they will punch you right back. They will swing their weapon right at you. Doesn't matter, because it's literally like, you dare to swing it with me with your little fist? Pow! With improved unarmed strike, they don't get to counter. It's not to say that there's not ways to do it, but I'm just saying that there's no attack of opportunity just for attacking. So that's of value. Dragon Ferocity is one of 3 feats that fall into the Dragon Style category. So there's Dragon Style. Notice how that's on the list for things that you must have, as well as Stunning Fist. Again, things that Dragon Style, while not free to a monk, is something they could pick up as one of their monk feats. But Dragon Style, Dragon Ferocity, and Dragon Roar are the 3 that make up the quote-unquote Dragon Style to me. Dragon Ferocity pairs with Dragon Style, which as you can see is conveniently not thumbs up, which kind of sucks ass that they do that. Down here, if you look for Dragon Style, you can see what the first one does. Again, notice how it requires a mobility, a decent strength, obviously enough intelligence to do it, and then of course improved unarmed strike, because that's what you're doing, you're punching with your fist. It gives you several bonuses. It's a toggle, you turn it on. Bonus to your saves against sleep effects, paralysis effects, stunning effects. That's a value right there. Then your first hit, remember how you have more than one attack usually in a combat round. Your first punch with your fist in each round normally just gets your strength modifier for extra damage on top of whatever damage you do with your fist. In this instance, since you're doing Dragon Style, you're learning to bolster your strength through your fist kind of thing, and you hit harder, but only on that first strike. The first strike gets 1.5 times the modifier for strength. So if your strength was, let's say, 18, that's a +4 modifier. For normal people, they'd be punching and get a +4 to their swing and +4 to their damage. For you, because you have Dragon Style on, that first punch, still +4 to the swing, +6 to the damage. Yeah, it's only 2 points more. But are you going to stop at a strength of 18? Probably not. If you're a strength-based character, especially if you're doing Dragon Style, you're probably getting strength up to 20, 24, 30 even, maybe even more. So now imagine if you had somehow, with spells and buffs and gear, a strength of, let's just say 30. That's a +10 modifier, okay? So literally +10 to your swing, +10 to your damage. But not for this. Again, be +10 to your swing. The first hit would be 50% stronger. So instead of +10, it's now +15. That's 5 more points of damage. That's significant. It's not amazing, but again, you're building into something. What are you building into? The one that we were just talking about, Dragon Ferocity. What does this little goober do? Well, look at the requirements. Notice how it also requires not only Dragon Style, Stunning Fist, the same shit you needed for Dragon Style, the same strength of 15. You need improved unarmed strike, again, just like Dragon Style. I would remove all those things if I was the dev, honestly, because again, if you have Dragon Style and Mobility 5 listed here, that's the only 2 things that matter. But notice how Mobility 5, you may say, well, that was something required for Dragon Style. No, Mobility 3 for Dragon Style. So there is a difference. So you need to keep investing in mobility, which seems weird because you're a strength-based build, presumably, if you're going to do Dragon Style. And mobility is a dexterity-based skill. So it seems odd. But again, they had to do something. So I guess, personally, I would have had it going athletics, but whatever. Anyway, the point is you need a mobility of 5 ranks invested, Dragon Style, Stunning Fist, a decent strength stat, and an improved unarmed strike. So again, all those things you would have had thanks to Dragon Style, except for that mobility. Get that Dragon Ferocity, what does it do? Now, instead of your first attack only getting that 50% extra strength bonus damage, all of your attacks get the 50% extra strength bonus damage, which is awesome. Wait, we're not done. The first attack gets another upgrade, and now it does 2 times the damage. So literally, the very first punch you have you literally now get, so again, if we went back to our plus 10 strength modifier, instead of it being plus 15, the first punch does plus 20. That's pretty badass. And then every attack after that is going to get the plus 15 instead of plus 10. So if we have, just a spitball here, let's say you have 5 attacks, just to have a number. First attack's going to get plus 20 to the damage instead of plus 10. And then every attack thereafter, again, the other, number 2, 3, 4, and 5, are going to get plus 15 instead of plus 10. So that's 5, 10, 15, 20, and 10 more. You just did 30 extra damage in a combat round thanks to these 2 feats. Dragon Style and Dragon Ferocity, with your fists, of course. Again, is this of value? Certainly you can see the appeal. Things that take more damage is always fun. So a solid upgrade. And other stuff besides. Remember, Dragon Style, just having that toggle on gave you a bonus to your saves against sleep and paralysis and stunning. So again, some crowd control protection for you. Certainly you can see the appeal. But keep reading. When you score a critical hit or a successful stunning fist attempt, notice how you had to have stunning fist for both of these, by the way, against an opponent while using this style. The opponent is also shaken for a number of rounds equal to 1d4 plus your strength bonus. Remember, our strength modifier is plus 10, we just stated. We made it up, of course, but again, presumably it'll be high. So again, you can see how you are scaring a target by brutalizing that target. Now, again, why could I capitalize on this? Well, first, let's talk about the shaken condition. What does that do? Again, a -2 to their attacks, -2 to their saves, a bunch of other shit that it does, but basically they're terrified of you, or not terrified, shaken. You know, they're scared. Well, if you follow my other videos, you will know that there's this thing called Shatter Defenses. I have it here. Shatter Defenses, if you pick it up, you need Weapon Focus and Dazzling Display and a High BAB, all things that monks can get. They literally can catch an opponent now flat-footed because they're shaken, frightened, or panicked. What does that do? Well, if an opponent is flat-footed, they lose their dodge modifier, they lose their dexterity bonus to their armor, and all that shit fucking falls off because they're flat-footed. Also, if you can sneak attack, not saying that you could, but if you had the ability to sneak attack, you can sneak attack that target now because he's flat-footed. So another way that you can set something up where you don't think necessarily monk, sneak attack, beating the shit and scaring guys left and right, but you could totally make that kind of a build. Pretty damn interesting in my opinion. So again, some synergy here. Is it amazing? Even by itself, if you don't go Shatter Defenses, the fact that you can literally on a critical hit or a stunning fist attempt scare a target, single target, that's not that bad, because if they survive your onslaught of punchity, having them be penalized from it is still pretty damn powerful. So I kind of dig it. Now, realistically, how often are you critting with those fists? A unarmed strike, like all monk weapons, because it is considered a monk weapon, all monk weapons crit on a nat 20 in that set. And that, again, could crit, not will crit. So be clear here. You're not guaranteeing anything. Sure, I can increase the range to a 19 and 20, and there's ways to even make it better than that with a lot of effort. But just the feat itself, the style, Dragon Style, Dragon Ferocity, and of course Dragon Roar, are they worth it? I say yes. I mean, if you're going to be an unarmed striker, especially a monk, and a strength-based one at that, this is of value. Because you can really just capitalize on some serious brutalizing damage. Is it the best style out there? I even say no. Honestly, I like Crane Style better. But we'll talk about that, again, separate. But Dragon Ferocity, Dragon Style, and Dragon Roar, which we've yet to talk about, are solid upgrades. Let's see, what else? Fury's Fall. Again, notice how this one requires you have trip. All this one does is we now get to add our dex bonus along with our strength bonus to our CMB. That's our combat maneuver bonus. For those of you that don't know, let's see if it pops up. Your CMB is your base attack bonus, so the better fighter type you are, so a high BAB. Again, versus a wizard trying to do this, a fighter will have a lot more chance to do this. And again, it's not to say that the wizard has to be weak, doesn't have to have a high strength. They can, hell, they have spells that make them have a high strength. It's not the point. The point is the BAB. The base attack bonus being a wizard's probably going to be no higher than about a 10. A fighter, on the other hand, can have a 20. You can see the difference right there. That's a massive gap. And any other modifiers like size bonus, it's easier to trip somebody if you're tall, I think. Point is, you would think correctly in most cases that a wizard would shy away from something like Fury's Fall, being able to use that dex bonus with your strength bonus. So this is obviously for a dex-based build, where you literally, if you're still trying to trip people, because again, you're using your strength, now we get to use our dex too. Okay, that's cool, I suppose. Having said that, would I get this on a wizard? No. Could I envision a wizard or sorcerer, someone with a low BAB rocking this thing? Hell yes. Why? We just said that there's going to be like about a 10-point difference there between a fighter, a full strength fighter, and a full strength wizard. Yeah, but there's a spell. That's not what a spell. There's a spell that a fighter can't get that a wizard can and a sorcerer can, and it's called transformation, where it takes their wizard or sorcerer level, or their caster level, and makes that the base attack bonus. Like, actually does increase their BAB. Now, they can't cast spells when they're under that spell. It's called transformation. But they can take a level 20 wizard, let's say, that has an okay strength and a really good dexterity and trip and Fury's Fall, this feat that we're looking at right now, cast that spell, and he can be a tripping monster. Just walking over, trip, trip, trip. Just really fun. So, sure, could I see a fringe case where this could be used? Yeah. Could I see a better use for it? Sure. I'd give it to somebody that's a dex-based ranger, fighter, barbarian even, I suppose, for some fun. Someone that already has a high BAB and enough strength to make a value of it, and enough dex where, probably from gear or spells, that I'm like, yeah, he's going to have a dex better than 10, so why not get another bonus? Fury's Fall. And again, just to reiterate, as a fighter or as a ranger, you got lots of feats, man. So saying, oh, this takes 2 feats to get it, that's not that big a deal. That's like here and here. Done. I got Trip, then I got Fury's Fall. Problem solved. So it's really not that intensive of a requirement. Do I find use to do the Trip? Sure. Do I think it's going to work a lot? No. Certainly the more strength and more dex you have, obviously if you have Fury's Fall as well, and the higher attack base attack bonus you have, certainly you can see the appeal. But thinking that you're going to be like ninja tripping trolls and giants and shit like that left and right, I'm here to tell you they're going to have a combat maneuver defense against this type of effect a lot better than you think, especially on the harder difficulty. So again, it's one of those where early game, maybe up till like level 10, this could be of value. Late game, you're probably not tripping a lot of guys. And when you do, hey, it's going to be awesome. Don't kid yourself. But it's still not going to be something that's going to be like, I'm amazing. You're not that amazing. It's a trick. It's literally nothing more than I'm doing one trick. There is ways to make that trick better. And I don't mean better chance for it to land, which is what Fury's Fall is doing. I mean, there are feats that you can take that allow you to damage somebody, like swing and hit like an attack of opportunity on someone that you trip. That's awesome. That's something you should look into. And again, we will talk about that. But again, that's something, I think we saw that on the teamwork feat. Or no, the teamwork feat was for the tripping was the tandem trip. And that was the one that allowed you, as a teamwork feat, let me show it to you real quick. Tandem trip, where are you? Right here. It's the one that allows you to roll twice to trip somebody. Now, again, if you had that, along with Fury's Fall and trip, now you're talking. You got an extra chance to make it land. Again, building towards, trip's my shtick. That's the thing that I'm doing, that I do better than anyone else. And anything else that would increase your trip, like, where's it at? Greater trip. You receive a +2 bonus. I'll read this one. This one's really nice. +2 bonus on checks made to trip a foe. So again, already a better chance to trip them. Keep reading. This bonus stacks with bonuses granted by trip, which obviously gives a bonus. Whenever you successfully trip, this is the catch that you want. Whenever you successfully trip an opponent, the opponent provokes attack of opportunity. Normally, when you trip someone, you just trip them, they fall down. That's it. They either do or they don't. You pass the check or they fail their check, however it works. But basically, they fall down and your turn's over. Well, if you have greater trip, which you can see is an investment, but if you hit it, you literally have the ability now to trip someone and pop them in the face at the same fucking time. So again, yeah, you're missing out on attacking, because that's what fighters and rangers and everybody else that would do this would do better than anybody. But you do get to trip him, make him prone, which screws him over, and smack him in the face all at the same time. And notice something else. That opponent provokes attack of opportunity for tripping. It doesn't say you get to hit him. You do. But what I mean is, it specifically says that it provokes attack of opportunity. Well, If you're surrounding him with your teammates, do they get to do an attack of opportunity? I think so. So again, if you like 4 of you guys like mug one dude, you happen to be the guy that just is the one that lands the trick maneuver. You get to punch the dude as he falls down, and so does your team. Just in a circle, you just beat the shit out of the guy as he falls to the ground. Smack. It's 4 free hits right there if you got 4 guys around him, including yourself. So again, you can see the appeal. So you can build, is my point, and do a lot of tricks to make them better. But just thinking this one feat is going to make or break your build, yeah, it's probably not as impressive as you think. Greater Bull Rush, like Bull Rush, bonus to the Bull Rush maneuver. It is another one of those tricks where you literally get to charge somebody, shove them around. Normally, and this one is great in and of itself, much like Greater Trip, in that normally when you do a Bull Rush, you just shoulder check the motherfucker and he goes sliding back depending on how good your check was. So again, can be used on like big targets like giants and trolls and shit like that. Obviously works better on smaller targets. But if you do it, and the better your success, the farther back they slide. Now, why does that matter? This is how we use the term dungeon pool, where you literally have set up like a pit or a web spell or a grease spell behind a guy. He gets through it, let's say you put it under his feet. He's the one troll, let's say, that did not fail his reflex save. And he, in his turn, moves outside of the grease effect. Well, I want him back in that grease effect because I want the motherfucker to slippy slide and fall down like the rest of the trolls so I can beat him like a pinata. Well, Bull Rush or Greater Bull Rush the motherfucker, hit him hard enough, he will slide back either into it, hopefully, or past it, and then have to walk back through it again. And you'd be surprised at how effective this can actually be. Another example, like I said, knocking him into a pit. If you do a Bull Rush or any kind of push, let's say it that way, because there's a variety of ways to do this that's not the Bull Rush feat. If you push a bad guy in a direction and there happens to be a pit on the ground, in the definition of the pit spell, you will see that there is a reflex check, I believe, to keep from falling in the pit. They don't get a check if they're pushed into the area where the pit is at. Another example of you using some really good combat tactics. So again, get this on, say, the fighter, a ranger, or paladin, someone who's tough, strong, has the ability to shoulder check a motherfucker and be in melee range to do it. And combine it with, say, your wizard, who is summoning a pit behind the motherfucker, whether it's a pit, an acid pit, spike pit, whatever kind of pit you want to put down behind the guy where all the other bad guys were at, and they're already falling into the pit. And you really need him to fall into the pit so he just takes constant damage. Yeah, he may make the check on the next round and get out of the pit, but that's what your team is for. You're there to beat his ass right the hell back down into the pit. Point's still the same. You can Greater Bull Rush that bastard and knock him guaranteed into said pit. Assuming you hit, of course, and assuming that he's subjective to a Bull Rush effect. But by and large, if you're hitting and hitting hard and you have all the nice buffs like Greater Bull Rush, a nice strength bonus, etc. and so forth, you will make this succeed. And keep reading. Whenever you Bull Rush an opponent, thanks to Greater Bull Rush, he provokes an attack of opportunity by you and your allies. This is, again, another example of here's here's the bad guy, here's your teammates here, here, and here. What if I hit this guy with Bull Rush and I'm so successful at it he flies this far back? I'm getting a free attack of opportunity, he's getting a free attack of opportunity, he's getting a free attack, she's getting a free attack of opportunity because he managed to get this fucking far back. And he falls down after that, right? Because that's like a common thing. You Bull Rush, they shove them back and they fall down on the ground, I believe. So this is another one where they literally get screwed. So again, dungeon pool. Is this amazing? When it sets up right, it's really nice. And again, free attacks are free attacks, baby. Especially when you're pinballing a jackass around. Because again, better positioning, putting him where you want in the dungeon. Is it something that I build for? Not traditionally. That doesn't mean that it's a terrible idea. Greater Dirty Trick. This one's weird in that Dirty Trick and Greater Dirty Trick gives you multiple things that you can do. Unlike Bull Rush, which is a one-trick pony, same with Trip. It's a one-trick pony. Sunder Armor, another example of something that you do and you do it well. Disarm, another great one-trick pony. Dirty Trick does a lot of things. So let's go to Dirty Trick and show you what it is capable of doing. If you have Dirty Trick, you get these 3 choices whenever you want to do something to someone. You can try to blind the guy, like you thumb on his eye, for example. Entangle, you do something that literally makes him trip up. Sickened, obviously you like kidney punch him or something like that. You get the general idea here. Basically, you are inflicting one of these conditions. Okay, and that's what Dirty Trick basically does. Lasts for a specific amount of time. The better your success, the longer it lasts. You get the general gist. But unlocking this, which again requires higher intelligence than normal, and either combat expertise or kinetic warrior. Obviously, combat expertise would be the one I would go for. But if you're a kineticist, kinetic warrior is an obvious pick. Is this amazing? Again, helpful, sets up the team. A blinded opponent is someone that everyone can beat on a lot easier, and they can, sneak attack can go off, and a lot of really nice pluses and minuses from blinding a target. Entangled is of value, slows them down, keeps them from charging like your back ranks. Certainly you can see the appeal here. Entangled also has another effect, I want to say, of like lowering their dexterity, even if it's just temporary. So if they're entangled, I want to say it's like a -4 to their dex. So that's a lower reflex save, and that's lower armor for a short period of time. So again, you can see the appeal there. Sickened is just a general fuck you, -2 to a variety of things like attack bonus and skill saves, or skill checks and saving throws. So again, sure, it's good, and of course the greater version of it must be greater. Ha 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 ha. But again, is it something that I would routinely do? Again, no. Could you do it? Sure. Should you do it? Again, sure. If that's your play style. To me, people when they play this game, let's put it this way: when people play this game, you're going to pick feats based on a couple of things. You're going to pick them on: is it something that I have to micromanage? This is a micromanage one. Like, I have to click it. I have to say, I'm using this dirty trick now. And if that's not your thing, if you're just like grab the horde of teammates that you have and point and click and kill that guy, okay, he's dead. Point and click and that guy, he's dead. So if you're basically doing real time with pause or turn based, if you're turn based, you'll probably like these things. If you're using real time with pause, you're not liking these things because you're literally just dragging and clicking and dragging and clicking. You will never see these things get used. So that's probably the easiest way to break these apart. This one has the added benefit not only of being a bonus, notice that it also increases the penalty, so how long it lasts. So normally it's 1 round plus 1 round per 5-point increase of you exceeding the check. Right? So their combat maneuver defense is a number. Let's say, just to throw out a number, let's just say it's 20, and you exceed it by 5, so you got a 25 on your roll with all your bonuses and everything. So it would last for 1 round plus 1 round. That's what Dirty Trick would do. So 2 round, yay, that's a value. In this instance, because you have greater Dirty Trick, it would be 1d4 rounds, so a random roll, plus 1 round per every 5. So it would be minimum 2, maximum of 5 on that last example. You can see the appeal here, so it lasts longer. So you can really capitalize on that target being blinded or entangled or sickened. So again, is it worth it? If you don't mind micromanaging, this can really soften up some targets. Just saying. Downside on this one, to me, is not just the Dirty Trick and the intelligence and the combat expertise. I don't like getting combat expertise if I don't have to. For those that don't know, combat expertise, something we'll talk about again in another video, but it's like a minus. It's like power attack. It's a minus to something for a bonus to something else. It's a minus to your swing, which I can't justify, for a bonus to your armor. So you become more tanky. And you may say, well, that sounds awesome. I'll put that on the front line guy. Sure, okay. But you still need to hit things. And if you got power attack on, you already got a massive penalty now thanks to power attack or piranha strike. Again, viable options. So now we're making it even harder for us to hit stuff. And that's just something that you're probably not leaving all these toggles running at the same time. So again, could it be used? Sure. Can it be used to great effect? Also sure. Is it something that I would pick? Probably not. Also notice that this one requires a base attack bonus of 6. Again, on a fighter, that's not that big a deal. Fighter, barbarian, whatever, I can get that by level 6. And again, look at there, I got a nice free feat waiting for it. So I can get Dirty Trick by here. And again, early levels, this would be probably pretty powerful. So again, on a fighter type build, this would be an easy choice. But on someone like a Magus, like one of the characters I play, where my base attack bonus to get to 6, I have to be level 8. That's still not that bad. But now take that to like a wizard or a sorcerer or someone that's like a low base attack bonus increase. To get Baba 6, they're level 12 Sunshine, and they're not getting feats at level 12. They're getting it at 13. So this would be like 13 at the earliest. This would be a terrible idea, to me, anyway. So again, on you, but kind of common sense dictates a lot of things in this game. And I hate to say it like that because, again, I routinely ignore common sense. But If it's something that sounds like a fighter should do it, or a fighter type should have this feat, rogue even for that matter, hey, makes sense. It's probably okay. If it's something that like I can't envisioning my wizard tripping somebody, Fury's Fall, bull rushing somebody, or dirty tricking somebody. It just doesn't sound like something they do. They got spells for a fucking reason. Then I'm probably not putting it on those guys, and it really does make a lot of sense, right? Greater Disarm, much like Disarm, obviously a better check, lasts longer. Again, you're seeing a pattern here, but basically this one will take away their weapon short term. I don't think it falls on the ground, and I don't believe that they can't just pick it back up in like another round or two, but literally it stops them from using that weapon for X amount of rounds. And again, of value, I suppose, but the problem again with these ones, much like Dirty Trick and Bull Rush and Sunder Armor, the guys that you would like to use this on have high strength, have high base attack bonuses. And how do they get CMD, the Combat Maneuver Defense? High strength, high base attack bonuses, hell, and even a high dexterity modifier. So again, you see the problem. The guys you want to use this on are probably the guys that are more resistant to it than anybody else. So it's one of those where, again, will it work? Sometimes, sure. When it works, you're going to love it. When it doesn't work, you're going to be like, why the hell didn't I just swing my weapon 4 fucking times? Probably kill the guy, you know what I mean? So, cool tricks. Early levels, I'd say, again, same general principle here. Again, as a fighter, you get this by level 6. This could be fun. Literally taking like the worst swinging motherfucker, because there's bad guys in the game that, especially like level 3s, where they have like a glaive, and that bastard is just a champion at swinging that glaive. And if you could disarm him, maybe not greater disarm because you wouldn't have it by that point, but again at level 2 or 3, you could have disarm. And if you could disarm that bastard for at least a couple of rounds, that gives you 2 free rounds of your team just beating the shit out of the guy, right? So value, sure, great. I don't know about that. I mean, like I said, it's like everything else. When it works well. When it doesn't work, you're gonna be like, why the hell didn't I just swing like 5 times? Greater shield focus. Nothing more than another +1 to your armor. And while I say that like I don't want it, it's actually not true. For a fighter, because again, you need fighter level 8 or something that gives you the equivalent of fighter level 8. Remember, Eldritch Knight, by the way, gives fighter levels. So a level 8 Eldritch Knight wizard could have shield focus, and this would get a bonus to wielding a shield. Now, should they? Again, I can't tell you that it's a bad idea. It's not my favorite idea. And the reason for that is a shield is an impediment to casting. And you may say, well, I can just get myself, that arcane armor training and the arcane armor, what's the other one called? Probably not even in here. Maybe it's in the thumbs down category. Yeah, arcane armor training and arcane armor mastery, 10% and eventually 20% taking away from your arcane spell failure. This only works on armor. Back in Kingmaker, it would work on shields. Now it works only on armor. So if you want this is helping you wear like things like padded armor, studded leather, and chain shirt. Or ideally, mithril will lower arcane spell failure as well. So if you had, say, a breastplate or a scale mail or a chain mail that was mithril, it might be low enough that if you had these 2 feats that you could wear that as a wizard or sorcerer or something like an arcane caster and not worry about arcane spell failure. Sounds cool, right? Oh yeah, well, but you have spells that can counter that make it even better, where you won't need shields, you won't need armor because you have a shield spell, you have a mage armor spell, you have ways that this is kind of shit. But again, put this on someone like a fighter, someone who's going to use a shield anyway, and they already have shield focus because you needed it to unlock this one. That's a +1 to that shield already. Now you got another +1 to your shield. Extra armor is extra armor. And again, you may say, well, that's a lot of feat investment. Dude, really? You got fucking like 20 plus in here. You got 11 here, and if I'm human, I got 11 up here. I got 22 damn feats to pick from. I can definitely afford to grab something like shield focus, greater shield focus, since it's something I'm always going to be wielding. Sword and boarding it up, baby. That's a solid +2 to my armor class right there. Again, won't help you a damn whit against touch armor, but it does help you against the other 2 categories. So again, of value, yeah. Is it amazing? Also, no, but it's better and it's moving in the right direction. Greater Sunder armor, again, just like our Disarm a dirty trick and other things here, like it sounds, it's going to be something that takes away their armor. How it works, I don't understand the logic of, I hit you in a magical way that makes all your armor fall off, because that sounds like a sexy trick right there. But it's one of those where you dislodge something, I don't know, you unfasten some part of his armor, and now his armor is basically gone. So it literally screws them out of their armor for a specific amount of rounds. Again, certainly you can see the appeal, soften up a target. And this one's a little weird in that not only do you need Sunder armor, which is weird, you need power attack. I'm assuming that you're hitting his armor so hard that it falls off or some shit like that. I don't know. But greater Sunder is obviously greater than Sunder armor. Sunder armor will literally lower it. You get a bonus to trying to do the check. Again, it's against their combat maneuver defense. Against the guys that you'd want to do this against, they're going to have a higher BAB than normal, higher strength and dex than normal. Again, it's going to be hard to land it. So getting these feats, both of them, would increase your chances of it landing, I suppose. But is it amazing? I don't know, man. It's one of those where, again, you didn't hurt the guy, I don't think, when you do this attempt. You just are dislodging his armor. And then everyone else gets a chance to beat on the guy. Wouldn't you rather your fighter or your ranger, your paladin, whoever is good at this ability, who's also good at swinging a weapon, swing the weapon multiple times? Again, we're falling into that same trap. Cool, nice, soften the guy up. Hey, I get it. I got spells that do that better than this. And again, it's nothing more than a will save, reflex check, a fortitude save, whatever that stops that. And in many cases, it's not even a save or suck spell. It's a spell where they save and something still happens. Like it only lasts for a round or something like that, where they're softened up. But so what? In that one round, I can capitalize on that. So having a feat that does it, maybe, I don't know, man. Surely there's going to be ways for you to make your combat maneuver bonus, the CMB, which is what you're checking against their CMD. Hopefully you can understand when I say B versus D. The point is, there's going to be ways for you to increase your combat maneuver bonus, or attack bonus, however you want to think of it. More strength, more dex, obvious. Higher BAB, obvious. Also feats, like this one here is giving a +2 bonus. Remember we talked yesterday, there's a tactics. What's under the C's? What's that thing called? Coordinated defense, coordinated maneuvers. Here you go. Whenever you are adjacent to an ally who also has this feat, you receive a +2 bonus on all combat maneuver checks. That's a combat maneuver we've just been talking about. Sunder armor, disarm, bull rush, trip, all those things fall under combat maneuvers, right? CMB. This is the bonus. So sure, you and a buddy up front now we're talking. Fighter A and Paladin B could be a good duo team for setting up shit like this. Giving a better bonus by standing next to my buddy who helps me trip things or disarm things or dirty trick things. You get the idea. Sure, you can set it up. It's a big investment, and it's not to say that you don't have plenty of feats to grab that investment, so it's not going to really fuck you in that way. But I routinely find when what's a good way of saying this? For a feat like these, where, disarming an opponent, lowering their armor, tripping an opponent, bull rushing an opponent, when it requires multiple steps as far as prerequisites, feats, picks, if you don't have them all mapped out, a piece of paper for every character, so to remind yourself, oh yeah, I was going to get greater disarm at this level, I was going to get disarm at this level, I was going to get combat maneuver tactics, blah blah, whatever, coordinated maneuver, at that level. And if you're not following the plan, then you start freewheeling it, because again, the game is intense. You get to a level, and you're like, level! Oh, look at weapon focus, click! Oh shit! I didn't want weapon focus at that level. Ah, hell, I want to combat coordinated maneuvers. Damn it, now my build's all bulked. You see the problem. So again, the more steps, if you haven't, again, it's why I'm so good at things like improve, clean, and finish, because I know the steps. I know which ones I need, when I need them. And again, this is only going to come with, I hate to say it, with training. The more characters you make and you constantly go for that improved cleaving finish build, you'll be like, oh yeah, don't I need power attack? Oh yeah, power attack. Great cleave. Yeah, cleaving finish. Sounds good. All right, cool. All right, by this level I should have it. Yep. All right, we're good to go. Same with Cornigan Smash. I've done it so many fucking times. Same with Point Blank Match. That's why I showed you those videos, right? And because again, I can show you the milestones, when you should get them, how you can delay it a little bit. But again, it's one of those where you get a real good feel for it. I don't doubt that there's guys out there that have done the greater trip combos, not just trip, greater trip, Fury's fall, and the coordinated maneuvers, and all the other buffs that might increase your chances to trip somebody for some serious fun. Yeah, is it ridiculous to watch some YouTube videos of some of these guys that are like literally like tripping trolls like they're a little fucking halfling and they're tripping trolls, knocking them on their ass? The shit's funny as hell. But are you beating the troll to death? I mean, yeah, he's falling on the ground like every round you're successful in tripping him, but you can't solo him that way because you're not really damaging him all that much. Yeah, you get an attack of opportunity if you got greater trip, but it's not going to be such significant damage that troll's going to die from it, really, is he? So, yeah, I mean, it's funny to watch him get bitch slapped around, but in the grand scheme of things, again, is it really going to help you beat the game? It's a fun trick. It's, again, like all these I consider fun tricks. Dirty tricks, disarm, and all that shit besides bull rush. The only one in here, the only two in here that I'm a constant fan of is bull rush for the aforementioned ability to knock them back into area of effect spells. And they're not just pits. Think of grease, think of web, think of stinking cloud, think of cloud kill, think of anything that's an AoE that slows them down, damages them in some way, or, you know, Siroko's another fine spell. Again, they get out of it, you motherfucker, bull rush right back into it. Again, planning. Fury's fall and the greater trip combos and all the shit that you can do with tripping a bastard is the only other one on that list that I routinely see and don't hate. And the only reason I say this is, and again, not to say that disarm is useless or Sunder armor or the dirty tricks. It's more of a, I know how impactful being tripped personally is. When somebody trips your character and you fall face first, like in Kingmaker when we would fight them goddamn wolves, and like the first thing they would do is they'd run up to your guy, bite you, do damage, and immediately trip your ass at the same fucking time. And you're like, you son of a bitch. I can see and feel that frustration. So inflicting it on the bad guy is feels good, right? You know, it's like, yeah, fuck you, wolf, trip. Okay, so I get that. But here's the thing. Dirty trick, disarm, and Sunder armor. While it happens, and it happens in this game, I have actually seen the combat log where a motherfucker actually disarmed me or Sundered armored me, and I'm like, you son of a bitch. Because I never really pay attention to the combat log all the time. The game's intense, man. You're fucking fighting, and you're like, yeah, we won. Who cares if my armor was dislodged for a brief moment or whatever. In combat, it sucks. After the combat's over and you won, are you really paying attention to it? But what did you see happen? I saw me get bull rushed. I saw my character get tripped. That's a thing that's a visual cue. Whereas disarm, you don't see a weapon suddenly on the ground. You don't get to use it. And you're like, why am I swinging like a pansy? It's because you're punching. And why is it getting an attack of opportunity? Because you're punching and you don't have improved unarmed strike. Ah, shit. So again, shit that's hidden. It's powerful. You just don't see it. I'd rather see it, if that makes more sense. Greater two-weapon fighting, just like we talked about with two-weapon fighting, improved two-weapon fighting, and now greater two-weapon fighting, usually requires a dexterity investment. Doesn't have to. Again, there's ways around it with fighters and rangers and other classes. But by and large, it's a dex-based game. I mean, it's really someone for a dexer. Someone that literally is going to have high dexterity to run through and just choppity-choppity. And you're going to use light weapons. Is it of value? This one, I hem and haw over liking it. On my builds, I'm not usually a fighter type. Someone that has a BAB of 20. I'm usually has a BAB of 15. So having a third attack that's going to be kind of lame is less impactful for me. Having said it, it's a free fucking attack. Even if it only hits a couple of times, it's earned its right to be awesome. So if you're high dexterity, which means you have a better chance of hitting, already, you know, assuming you're weapon finessing, again, you got a pretty good shot at making this third and final greater two-weapon fighting attack land. For those of you that don't know, each two-weapon fighting upgrade gives you another attack. So two-weapon fighting, you get an attack with your offhand weapon. That full base attack bonus, with a penalty, of course, because you're two-weapon fighting. Then, you get improved two-weapon fighting, which gives you a second attack, but at -5. So it's just like your main hand weapon, where you got a full attack, then you got the attack below it, then you got the attack below it. That's what greater two-weapon fighting, and improved two-weapon fighting do. You get your main attack, your middle attack, and then your worst attack added. But again, with your offhand weapon. So you get a full strength, and then a -5, then another -5, which is why this one's at a -10. Is it worth it on a fighter build, ranger build? Yeah. On a build that doesn't have a lot of base attack bonus like my Magus, I can get around it, is why I do it. But having said that, if I'm feat starved, or if I know that I want something else, this would be the one that I kick to the curb. Because a third and final attack at a -10, not even a -10, -12 technically. I hate that they say -10 because it really is -12, possibly -14. Because two-weapon fighting gives you the ability to wield another weapon in your offhand. You could always have done that at a massive penalty. But having the feat two-weapon fighting, let's just show it to you. Having the feat two-weapon fighting takes away that massive penalty. So here's how much it would be in your main hand if you equipped a dagger and a longsword and a longsword, or scimitar and a scimitar. Maybe you got Dritz fetish or something, and you're like, I want to wield 2 scimitars. Okay, you start that at like level 1. You got a -6 to your main hand swing and a -10 to your offhand swing. What? Oh Jesus, fuck that. Okay, well if you get two-weapon fighting, it drops to a -4 and a -4. So that's not bad. Okay, still not great. Now, watch this. If the offhand weapon is a light weapon, it actually goes down another 2. So literally, it would be -2, -2. That still sucks, but now I still get that extra attack. So, okay. So, again, all your attacks with your main weapon and your offhand weapon, best case scenario when you're two-weapon fighting, is going to be at a -2. So if we go back to our greater two-weapon fighting, that third attack, which is what this is giving you, is your third attack in your offhand weapon, is not at the -10 that it's showing you. It's at that -10 and another -2. So you're really swinging at a -12 with that. Are you really going to hit? Yeah, you got a base attack bonus of at least 11, because it has to get this feat. So you're at a what? -1? That's still not great. You still have to roll, and those guys are getting apparently heavy fucking armor. So this one is, again, less likely to hit. I will still grab it on other builds, because like I said, I'm already going to be a fighter. I have extra feats to spare. He's already a dex-based build. He's got a really good base attack bonus, so he's not stopping at 11. He's going to get a goddamn 20. So again, I'll pick it just for a fodder, the chance to hit that guy with a low armor class one more time. And on the bad guys, remember, on a nat 20, you hit, period. You may not have crit, but you're definitely going to hit them. So again, there is that extra action economy. You got 3 attacks in a round, 4 attacks in a round as a fighter by the end of your build. That's not bad. Wouldn't you like to have 7? I know I would. That's why we do two-weapon fighting, improved two-weapon fighting, and greater two-weapon fighting. What else? Greater weapon focus. You have to pick a weapon. You have to have weapon focus already in that weapon, which is easy enough to get. Everybody can do this. But you also have to be a fighter level 8 for this one. And if you do so, you can literally get another +1 to the swing with just that one type of weapon. Dagger, punching dagger, longsword, scimitar, fist, whatever. Is it worth taking? Yeah, especially for someone like a fighter who gets like a metric shit ton of feats and swinging that one weapon that they're almost always going to be using because they always love a specific kind. Yeah, it's nice that fighters can pitch hit and switch from a longsword to a fucking scimitar to a glaive to a whatever, because they're skilled in all weapons. That doesn't mean you don't have a personal preference or a favorite. So getting weapon focus, and then of course later on greater weapon focus to increase your chances of hitting, certainly you can see the appeal. Do I consider this a must-have? No. Will I grab it on a fighter? Fuck yeah, well, Jesus. I mean, hell, they got plenty of feats to burn one. I mean, maybe not at level 8. Remember, they can grab it once they get fire level 8, which is here. So this is where I could suddenly pick it up. If I already had weapon focus, of course. Will I pick it up here? Probably. Do I have to? Also, no. If something else is striking my brain, like, oh, I got the trip ability I've been working towards. Yay, finally unlocked. I'll grab that. But better believe that somewhere in the line I'm going to get bored and be like, what else can I pick? Well, if you haven't picked greater weapon focus and you have the ability to do so, I have to kind of wonder why. Oh, I wanted to grab skill focus perception. Oh, I mean, yeah, it's okay, I suppose. Is it helping you in combat? I mean, it helps spot my traps and shit like that, so I understand the appeal. But I'd rather have my main swinging motherfucking fighter swing better. So again, greater weapon focus. Greater weapon specialization, also same general vein. Instead of it being a bonus to your swing, it's a bonus to your damage. Again, for only one weapon. Again, you can pick it multiple times. You have to have weapon specialization in said weapon. So if you want weapon specialization longsword and weapon specialization dagger, and then greater weapon specialization for both of them, hey, you can do that thing. I think it's weird, but you can. All this does is give you another +2 to your damage. And I don't say that like that's not that big of a deal. It's extra fucking damage. And remember, you already had weapon specialization. That also gave you another +2 to your damage with said weapon. So again, let's just say longsword because it's a staple. You have greater weapon focus longsword, weapon focus longsword, weapon specialization longsword, and greater weapon specialization longsword. Let's say that's 4 feats. That's, you would think, a big investment. Not really. That's here, 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 and here. You're done. Right? Okay. Well, what did that give us for those 4 feats? A +2 to my swing and a +4 to my damage. That sounds pretty fucking good to me. So again, good. Are they great? No. Are they good? Hell yeah. So again, for a fighter build, certainly you can see the appeal here. Hell, I've even grabbed some of these on a sword saint. Remember, sword saints can get fighter levels, equivalent to fighter levels, so I can unlock this for a sword saint. I'd have to be level 15 to do it. I've done it, was happy with the outcome, but then when I realized later on that I could grab something like this, because I was a caster, and as a caster, I can increase my damage as a purest sword saint from +1 damage for free, didn't any penalties, and it's any weapon I swing, to all the way up to a goddamn +5. This is better. This feat here, even though it's not in the thumbs up category, it's also because I'm a fighter and I don't cast. But again, this feat here technically is better than this feat and the one you needed to get this feat. So weapon specialization and greater weapon specialization, that's only a +4 to your damage, and that's only for one weapon type. If I grab Arcane Strike on just a general Magus, level 20 Magus will get a +5 damage to any weapon, and that's any weapon. That's not just a melee weapon, Sunshine. That is a bow, crossbow, long sword, sling staff, dagger, anything that I can put in my little fisties is getting a +5 bonus to its damage, best case scenario. And it's just free. Now it takes my swift action to do it, and that's a bummer, so then be aware of that. It likes to shut it, it's a toggle, it likes to shut itself off. Honestly does if you wanted to impress me, if you ever watch my videos, which I know you don't. But if you did, or if anyone wants to put this in their ear, this should be a clickable. I thought about this the other day. The more I thought about it, the more I'm like, because they've changed it a little bit from the way it works in Kingmaker. Kingmaker, this thing was just a toggle, you leave it on, it likes to shut itself off, but it's glitching with a lot of the new mechanics that they got in this game. They should honestly just make this a clickable. Why? Because notice how it says spending a swift action each round, you can buff your weapon. That should be a, I'm going to buff my weapon, Arcane Strike, click it. Everything will go gray, it will use your swift action. Your swift action is now taken. You only get one swift action a round. Poof, it's done. It shouldn't be a toggle. It should be a clickable, right? Okay, I'm deviating. Point is, this thing here by itself, and again, knowing this shit, this is why I do these videos, because this made that Sword Saint build so much better, because while I had weapon specialization in my Kukris, and I had greater weapon specialization in my Kukris, and weapon focus and greater weapon focus, I had a really nice swing, and I had a really good damage output. +2 to your swing and +4 to your damage was a nice increase, and I was 2 weapon wielding. But again, I could have done Arcane Strike, and both my weapons would have just been +5. And that's 1 feat for the doing more damage than 2 feats combined, right? So that's why I try to point you out to this stuff. But again, this one is good, especially for the fighter types. Improved cleaving finish, where I talk about it. Improved weapon fighting, where I talk about it. Point blank shot, precise shot. Again, I don't have to say too much about these. Bonus to your swing and a bonus to your damage for any ranged attack. And that includes ray spells, by the way. This does work, so long as we're within 30 feet. And there's a new system in this game where you can, this is a toggle now, you can actually activate this toggle. The way that toggle works is it doesn't give you point blank shot, it forces your character to move within point blank shot range, which actually, the more I hate it, the more I start to realize that's actually not the worst mechanic ever. It's actually well thought out, devs. For those of you that don't know, it is almost impossible for you to realize how far away a target is. You don't see zones of oh, well, he's within 30 feet. That's point blank shot range, and I should be getting my +1 bonus to my attack and +1 to my damage. You don't see that. You can set it up. How do you set it up? How about you give yourself a weapon that only has a range of 30 feet? Just saying, that's a thing. But chances are you're not. You're going to get a bow and a long bow and shit that reaches 40, 50 feet or longer. And for a reason, because you want to stay the fuck back. But it's nice to get that bonus, right? So the way the toggle works is you activate the toggle. It doesn't suddenly give you point blank shot. What it does is it forces that character, when you pick a target, he or she will have to walk close enough to get within 30 feet and then they'll take their shot. Which is a bummer because a lot of people are like, well, fuck it. I could have shot 3 times if I just stood still. Yeah, but you wouldn't have gotten the bonus. So if you really need that bonus for whatever fucking reason, you know that that +1 to swing, that +1 to damage is going to make or break that fight. Activate this toggle before you autopilot your character and let them do stupid shit. Especially if you're doing like real time with pause where you're not micromanaging every character. It's a way to micromanage this guy. Because you can leave that toggle on, and what will he do? He has no choice. The toggle's on. He will have to get within 30 feet of said target and then shoot with whatever ranged weapon he's shooting. So it's kind of cool if you think of it in that way. So I do appreciate that they put effort into this, even though it wasn't something that originally that I liked, because it's different from Kingmaker. And as we know, anything that's different is wrong. I'm just kidding. But it's one of those where you're like, fuck. Okay, but again, point blank shot, solid. Precise shot, solid. And I have argued in previous video just the other day, and I'm reiterating it now because I don't know which videos you guys are watching, that when people bitch about how I play a human all the time and I get 2 feats at the first level for being a human, that's not that big of a deal. The fuck it isn't. These 2 alone can be grabbed right at level 1. Notice how there's all it requires that you have an intelligence of 3, and the first feat. So again, a 1-2 punch at level 1 for a wizard or sorcerer that has raise spells. This is amazing. And again, they're probably a dex-based character anyway, so they have a better chance to hit. Give them a crossbow, give them a bow. They may not be able to use all of them, but anybody can use a crossbow, I believe, in this game. Even people that don't have simple weapon proficiency, like wizards, they don't. They can't use every weapon that falls under simple weapon proficiency, but they do have skill in crossbow. Because it's nothing more than point click. I mean, fucking Christ, we can teach a kid how to do that with fucking video games. Certainly we can do that for wizards that are full-grown adults. So, giving them these 2 feats at level 1 makes you not a badass, but it makes you competent. Same when I talk about if you're a strength-based meleeer. Whether you're a fighter, ranger, magus, cleric, whatever, doesn't matter. You feel like you should be in melee because you're a strength-based character and you can get to wear armor, let's just say. Those 2 feats as a human, I can get you power attack and I get you either weapon focus if you have a BAB of 1, because that's required for weapon focus. Some of them don't get BAB of 1, like my Magus, they don't get a BAB here. So you can't get a weapon focus there easily. A Sword Saint can because they get it for free, but that's cheating. But for a human, I get power attack and I can get you something else that will give you like a bonus to your swing or a better armor, dodge, whatever. Point is, I can get you upgrades. 2 of them right off the bat. That early levels is a big kick in the ass to overcome a lot of fights. And you may not think so. And you're right to have your own opinion. But it's one of those where your opinion's wrong. Having 2 feats is power. That's why people routinely play humans. And I like humans for other reasons. I like the fact that I get a free skill point at every fucking level because I'm a human. Is the only race that does that? No, I think half elves and half orcs get that too. But none of them get the extra feat. That extra feat can be really, really useful. These 2 reasons for a ranged attacker, for a melee attacker that's strength-based, power attack and weapon focus or power attack and something else. If it's a dex-based character that's meleeing, you're getting weapon finesse probably right off the bat, aren't you? If you're not getting it for free somehow in your build like rogues do, then you definitely want weapon finesse if you have more dex than strength and you're going to melee, right? I mean, I'm assuming so. So weapon finesse is 1. Now you're done. If you're not a human, that's all you got. What is the weapon finesse giving you? A better chance to hit. Sounds good. Why would I need anything else? Well, don't you want Piranha Strike so you can do extra fucking damage? I know I do. And I can get that at level 1. So you should probably do so. Sure, you could wait to level 3 to get it. Do you want to power yourself from 1 to 3? You know how hard it is to get to level 3 in this game? It's actually pretty goddamn far. So literally, I do 1d6 or 1d4 damage. Maybe +1 because my strength is not 10. Maybe it's 12. Ooh. But if I had weapon finesse and Piranha Strike, I got a -1 to my swing. Hey, yeah, that sucks, but I have a +2 to my damage right off the bat. So instead of 1d6 +1, I'm doing 1d6 +3. And that doesn't sound like it's game breaking, sure. But early levels, that's fucking power, sunshine. Again, rant over. But that's why I routinely do this. And again, more feats. You'd be surprised how often you are feat starved. I mean, fighters don't look like they have that problem. So again, you don't have to be a human fighter. And I could totally get around that because, again, fighters get this feat for free. So again, potato patata. But I still am getting 2 feats. So I still see it in the same vein. Same with wizards. When wizards get 1 feat here, if they're not human, and they get their special bonus wizard feat here, that's 2 feats. It's not the 2 that I give a fuck about, but again, at least they're getting something. When I play a rogue, I don't have to be human because I get weapon finesse for free at level 1. I'm probably a dex-based rogue, and that's usually the way I do things. So having 1 up here and then weapon finesse for free down there, that counts. I'm fine. I got, again, weapon finesse, piranha strike. Wash my hands of it, easy peasy, pumpkin squeezy. I'm all happy. But everybody's different on that shit. I do the human for the extra feat because at the end of the build, if I see that I'm grabbing dumb shit, like feats that, again, we're going to talk about in another couple days, that's just like, this is nothing. I don't fucking care. This is crap. I'm like, I'm bored. Let's get skill, focus, perception. Or, whatever. Maybe I want athletics. Woo. I probably didn't even give a shit because I just ran out of cool things to grab and I just don't care anymore. Well, that means I don't have to be a human. Why? Because I can take that 1 feat that I'm missing and slide it down and down and down. And so, feat 1 becomes feat 3, feat 3 becomes feat 5, and so forth, and 19, which was this lame-ass sauce right here, I just fucking delete it from the list. So that's why I do human. If I can fit it in another race, I will do so. If not, then it's because I needed that extra feat to get everything. And for frame of reference, let's give you another example. One last thing to say before we finish up on this here. So let's say human or no human, let's just say these are the number of feats that you have. You have 10, maybe 11 if you went human, right? You don't have anything fancy down here. You're not a fighter. You don't get all this cool shit. So you are limited to the 10 or the 11 that you can get up here. That's it. Well, let's say you want to be some sort of melee combatant. Again, we go with things like weapon focus, power attack. That's 2. Boom, boom. Then you want to get something like either weapon specialization. Maybe you want to do the Cornigan Smash build. So now we need weapon focus, power attack, dazzling display, Cornigan Smash, shatter defenses. That's minimum. That's 5. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And again, that's assuming you can grab them at those levels. So you've already taken up this many. You only got 5 to 6, again, if you're human, left. Well, maybe you wanted to do that improved cleaving finish build. Remember, we talked about how fucking cool that little bastard was, right? So what was that? Power attack. You already had it. So again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is already filled up. But now you need cleave. Then you need great cleave. And or you need cleaving finish, how you grab them, in which order, that's on you. And then you need improved cleaving finish. You see how you've taken up 9 of your 10? It leaves you 1 feat to do whatever the hell you want with. I want dodge. Okay, so now you got dodge. Now you're done. What if you wanted one other thing? Human. See that? Again, solid build. What I just read out to you, again, in the order that's dictated by you. But again, weapon focus, power attack, Cornigan Smash, dazzling display, body, blah, blah. Hell, I didn't even include, and I could have included Dreadful Carnage. That would have taken up that last feat instead of dodge. And again, if you're human and you want to dodge, you have access to it still. If you wanted human and you really, for whatever reason, just wanted that skill, focus, perception, because maybe that's your jam. You're the front tank motherfucker, and you just do not want to trip on a trap. Bonus to perception. You're in the front. You're the first person to spot it. Okay, but now you've burnt a feat choice. That's why I like playing humans, because again, that extra feat, that's a lot more flexibility than you think. Now I know that that's a massive rant. We're in an hour and a half here, and we'll barely cover these things. But we covered everything I wanted to, more or less. We will talk about the other ones in another time. Again, I will break this next one up. We will do the ones that aren't the thumbs down. It's a lot to hear. Some of these, though, are rehashing the ones we've already talked about. Again, I just saw one right at the bottom there. 2-weapon fighting, we've already talked about. Trip, we've kind of already talked about it. So I'll fly through some of these things. Hell, even the criticals, like the Tyrant criticals, we talked about them in passing. We don't have to rehash the teamwork feats, these piss yellow ones, because we already have that on a separate video. So again, it looks daunting. The next one will probably be a lot faster because they're not greater than the other ones. It's funny humor. Anyway, we will go in graphic detail in the ones that need effort and explanations. These 2 right at the top are clear examples of that. Other than that, that's all I wanted to talk about today. My name is Brother Mutant. Please like, subscribe, comment down below. Tell what you guys think. How do you guys pick your combat feats? What kind of tricks do you employ? Do you routinely do the bull rush? Is Dirty Trick more amazing than I'm giving it credit for? Feel free to post that shit down below. Tell me your combos, how they work, how you set shit up. Is it a fighter? Do you have to be a ranger to get the best benefits from it? Put that shit down below, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye now.